so I guess she's in the know. She would say, she said, we need to purify ourselves before undergoing the chanting. And so we chant ha with a big abdominal support, blowing out the impurities. So everyone, with your hands on your abdomen below the navel, use your hands to assist the abdomen drawing back to the spine to help get rid of the impure energy, that whatever's in there, and chant ha. One more time. Ha. Then the next syllable is ri, and she reminded me that ri is closely connected to ram, which is in the solar plexus, the heating mantra. So ri has to do with fire or heating. So then chant, just say ri, ri. So the ha brings up the impurity, the ri burns the impurity, and then rihi is the word. So it's he at the end. He. So chant or just say he, again with that abdominal support. He. That he signifies blowing away the ashes of what's been burned up. And what was burned up was the impurity. And then she says, we are purified and we are finally proper so that we can chant Om. So let's all chant. Harih Om. Let's do that together. Harih Om. So you can unmute yourselves. I would like to know if you do feel purified.
Yes.
Do we feel clean? So for the Gayatri, which is a lovely way to begin, I'm going to stand because it helps with the gestures that Elizabeth taught to us. So let's see if you can see me. And Elizabeth too, if you could. And Elizabeth, would you like to lead us so we can all mute ourselves and Elizabeth will chant the whole thing, including the Vyahritis in the beginning and the Shiras at the end. Okay, and then I'll explain it. So let's just chant together, however we can. So here I can, let's see, how do I mute myself?
Om Bhuhu Om Bhuvaha Om Gung Suvaha Om Mahaha Om Janaha Om Tapaha Om Gung Satyam Om Tat Saviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nak Prachodayat Om Apojyoti Raso Amritam Brahma Bhur Bhuvasuvaro
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. Were you all able to chant with Elizabeth? You can unmute yourselves. We can talk. Thank you so much. There's just something so cohesive about the experience of that. So Karen, did you want to, let's see, hear about the, I don't know, the meanings and things, or?
Well, I don't want you to have to retread ground that you covered in a couple classes that I missed.
All right.
I guess I just wanted to do it, and I just love it. And I just wanted to hear those sounds. If you want to say something very brief about these words at the beginning and the end, that is new to me.
Sure. Yeah. I think we can all, and anybody else who has some knowledge or understanding of this, please chime in anytime. Traditionally, our teachers, Deborah Kurian and Sonia Nelson, as Elizabeth once pointed out, we do get sessions in explanations, but sometimes we're just told to chant and they don't explain anything. But, and it's so interesting because I've looked up Vyahrati in the dictionary and could not find it. But it has to do with the 7 realms. And I think I mentioned, I was also teaching in a Thursday class, and now I'm not sure which class I discussed this in, but actually it was the Thursday class. In Yoga Sutra, in the 2nd chapter of the Yoga Sutra, right before the naming of the 8 limbs of yoga, 220 or something, 227, Tasya Saptadha Pranta Bhumihi Prajna. And Mr. Iyengar translates that briefly. His brief translation is, through this unbroken flow of discriminative awareness, one gains perfect knowledge, which has 7 spheres.
Right.
And I have not had anyone confirm with me that the 7 spheres discussed by Patanjali in this sutra are indeed the same 7 Vyahritis. I don't know. I think it's possible that they are. Bhuhu means earth. It's a feminine noun, bhuhu. A synonym in Sanskrit would be prithvi. Actually, everyone just say, it's okay if you're not muted. Let's just say prithvi. Yeah, that wasn't so bad. And the other word that's here is bhuhu. Everyone say that. Now back to Menaka, as a little sidetrack, she emphasizes if we chant Harih Om with the intention of becoming purified, we could, every time we encounter a word that has a lot of the aspirated sounds, or what we also call Mahaprana, we could that as an opportunity to keep on purifying ourselves. So even uttering the sound boo-hoo, that could be very purifying if our intention is to bring up all of the, poisons and just blow them away. So anyway, that means earth. Bhuvaha is taken to mean the first translation I ever learned was the atmosphere. I got that from Vyas Houston of the American Sanskrit Institute. The in-between realm, antar, the in-between, bhuvaha. And then suvaha, sometimes pronounced svaha, without the U in between the S and the V. So everyone, just so you get a sense of that you can pronounce it both ways, just repeat after me. Suvaha.
Suvaha.
And now repeat after me. Svaha.
Svaha. Svaha.
I think they're synonymous. And suvaha or svaha is the sky or the realm, the heavens, if you will. So we have earth, atmosphere, and heavens. And often we'll hear the Gayatri mantra chanted with these three vyahritis only. However, in the tradition of Desikachara and Krishnamacharya, they also add the other four. Mahaha, of course, I think of great. Maha means great. And then when we study the Sankhya of yoga, we encounter the word Mahat, which is the great. And once again, it's the great existence, if you will. Everything that existence encompasses, perhaps. Maha. So they must be related, although I can't say beyond that how. Om Janaha. Jana is a word for human being. Janaha. So that is all of us, male or female. Tapaha, we encounter a lot. Tapaha svadhyaya ishvara pranidhanani kriya yogaha. Tapaha, that means heating, the burning. And it comes from the root verb tap, which means to heat. So we have heating there, or burning, which implies fire. Then Ogung Satyam, truth. Satyam. And when we chant Ogung as opposed to Om, it's simply, that comes Ogung, gung. Everyone, you can say that together. Let's repeat after me. Ogung. Ogung. It reminds me of frogs. And it's only gung because there's a Vedic chant rule that says when Om is ending with the which becomes an anusvara. And that anusvara has to change when the letter sa, or the S letter, follows it. And so we have, instead of Om Suvaha, we have O Gung Suvaha. It's simply a rule, which is designed to make the sound more elegant, coming out of from the throat, out through the lips. So then at the end, then we have Tat Savitur, that Savitur of the sun. Savitra is a word for the sun. That of the sun, Varenya, adorable, able to be adored, that adorable sun. Bhargo, Bhargaha, that is the brightness or the shining. Bhargaha. Devasya, of the divine. Dhimahi, we meditate on that divine light of the adorable, of that sun which is worthy of our adoration. Dhiyaha, yaha, naha, prachodayat, may that inspire our thoughts or our meditation. That could be one translation, something like that. And then Shiras, I remember explaining that it must have to do with the head of things because it's so close to Shira, Shirashasana, Shirasha, Shira. I could be wrong. I'll just have to investigate further. Then we have Om Apaha, or when we chant it here, O Apo, water. So Apa, everyone say Apaha. Yes, as in Ap. Ap, Apaha, Apo, water. Then Jyoti, meaning Jyoti, good, brilliance. Brilliance, brightness. Rasa is the taste, the flavor. Then Amritam, the yummiest of all words. Amritam. Everyone say that. Let's say that together. Doesn't matter what it's like on the computer. Just Amritam. Yum, yum, Amritam. It's just so yummy. Amritam. And of course, it comes from the root verb mri, which means to die. Amri means not die. Amritam, meaning immortality. And it has also come to mean that which is fragrant and sweet. So the fragrance of immortality. Then Brahma. Brahma is often taken to mean that which has no beginning and no end. Brahman is purported to be the eternal witness. It was never created and therefore can never be destroyed. Is and always is always. That which is always. Bhuvaha, Suvaha, Om. Oh, before that, Bhur. So there we end as we began with the three most important Vyahratis: earth, atmosphere, and the heavens. Does anyone have anything to say or ask or declare or express an opinion?
I have a question for Val, because it came up last time that I think you use some part of this as a tool in pranayama. Is that true?
Yes. So can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Manju Joyce, Guruji's son, I had been with him on multiple occasions to study, and in those studies it was never just asana study, it was always asana, pranayama, meditation. It was always and sutras or chanting, and also not just Manju, but also Ramaswamy. A couple of different teachers. Yes, Srivatsa Ramaswamy. A couple of different teachers who use the done silently and at the during the retentions. So in the kumbhaka moments of whether it's Richaka kumbhaka or Puraka kumbhaka, when the breath is retained, that you may be doing the full chant silently as the measure of how long you're going to hold the retention.
Mm.
So is that in the traditional Ashtanga sequence of pranayama? Or just in any type of like?
No, it was like taught specifically as a kind of a technique to quiet the mind, to extend the kumbhaka as like in a way that's counting, but it's not counting because the chant actually keeps you calmer than when we just try and hold the breath out or in for a particular length of time. So, and then the other way is that the whole chant can happen all in one exhaling breath. Does that sound right? Is that even possible? Am I making that up? Because
do you mean the entire thing, including the Vyahratis and the Gayatri and then the Shiras at the end, the whole thing?
Let's try it. No.
Like, yes, but I don't know if that's actually sounded or if that's just as you're doing it silently. But my recommendation is just more about learning how to extend the kumbhakas, the breath holding, and use that mantra because it's it's universally accepted as being a beneficial mantra for all beings. So as some mantra are given to certain practitioners and some are given to other practitioners, Gayatri, I think, is one of the most commonly in throughout India, commonly chanted by everybody. Maybe not with the beginning and ends attached to them, but maybe, I don't know, Leslie, do you know that? If it's usually, or is it just 108 rounds of Gayatri as like a daily practice?
I don't think I know any more than that. I have been told also that it's chanted by not everyone, but it seems like everyone in India. And particularly at the time when the devotees wake up, before, it's that time of Brahma Muhurta, which is the pre-dawn time, when it's the period of sattva, because right before that we've been sleeping, so that's a tamasic period. But then by the time you hear the first bird chirping, then it's in the rajasic period. But that time right then, that's supposed to be a very auspicious time to chant. And I think many people probably chant then, but then they'll also chant it at high noon,
Right.
and then at sundown, and perhaps at various times. And I guess it depends on how they learned it, what lineage they were in. It just seems to be, yeah, everybody. It's
So
wonderful.
then, Leslie, is that like you're saying the time of sleep is tamasic and then like the daybreak is rajasic, but when they chant this, it's like this brief period of sattvic time?
That's a good question. It sounds like it's very short. I don't know. Does anyone have knowledge of this?
I want to say it's kind of between 4 and 6 a.m.
Yeah.
But I guess it depends also seasonally on what time the sun is rising.
Yeah.
But
I know when I attended a workshop with Edwin Bryant once, way up in Vermont, and it was winter time, and we were at the home of Mary Fleming, and Edwin is quite a devotee, and he wakes up, and he was the one who explained the time of Brahma Muhurta. And I remember it was very, very dark, and it must have been 4 a.m. and it was winter time in Vermont. I woke up and I heard some mumbling, and it was Edwin doing his oblations and his chanting. So that must have been the right time of day. Maybe it was 5 a.m. because it was winter and in Vermont. So, and certainly in the seasons, I guess up here, the time of Brahma Muhurta will be earlier than in the winter time.
right.
Yeah.
But
my guess is that if once I hear the first bird chirp, it's all over.
Patty, so I wasn't super clear because I don't know exactly where that as a tool came from prior to the teachers that I have done it with, but that when we're doing, in particular, like Richa Puraka Kumbhaka, which is in 2 different forms, part of an Ashtanga Yoga pranayama sequence, that by using mantra, instead of just like a timer or a count, that it's actually very calming for the mind, and we tend to be more settled and able to extend the breath and extend the retentions, either the exhale suspension or the inhale retention, so that the mantra, and then to me that makes sense, because if mantra is really translated as that which protects the mind in one of its translations of what mantra actually is, then it seems so logical that it's there in those moments where we may be afraid because it's scary to not breathe. It's even scary sometimes to lengthen your breath longer than where we feel like really comfortable. So it seems kind of very supportive and logical that we might use a mantra in pranayama.
I think
I
during
think
the
it's
retention
wonderful.
as well. Sorry.
No, I just think that's a wonderful way. And even in, in a different method, such as the Iyengar yoga method, we could apply that, can't we, Karen, do you think?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Especially to chant it silently, just inside, just to hear them internally, those words. I think it's a great
in
tool.
Prashant's classes, he's given, the seed syllables with the different chakras, like lum, 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 or something like that, while we're doing a pose. So that was right in an asana class that he included that kind of thing.
Uh-huh. Wonderful. In the words of my favorite Sanskrit teacher, Dr. Ramkaran Sharma, who has passed on, he would say, if we wanted to try something and we were worried that it might be the wrong thing to do, he would say, oh, no heaven will fall down. Love that phrase. Shall we move on to a different chant? Or would you like to repeat this one, or have we done with this one for now? And I would love for us to work on Laghunyasa. Rebecca, did we work on this at all? I know I did with Barbara a lot.
Yeah, I think we worked on this one.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
But I only included just the 4 verses, so I thought we would work on it slowly.
Yeah.
In the mantra Valli, I think traditionally, Asato Ma is chanted at the very end of the entire chant. It has like 20 verses or maybe more, I don't know. But I'll add them as we go along. I thought it would seem less daunting if we just have, 4 verses at a time. And so did you all receive this handout? Patty sent it to you today. Okay,
Yep.
Great. And so you can, the explanation, I copied it word for word out of the book. Laghunyasa. Laghu, of course, means light, as opposed to guru, which means heavy. Laghu. So this chant entreats the natural elements to sustain the organs and functions in the human system. It can be chanted by or to assist persons suffering from ill health. So what a nice thing to do for others. And as I read this this out loud, as I just read it out loud, it came to my mind that that's what this chant is for, to assist human beings in calling on the natural elements. And then of course there are other Vedic chants in which we are trying to assist the natural elements in maintaining their vitality. So it's a give and take thing. Wouldn't you say, Elizabeth, in that Vedic realm?
Yeah.
So in order for you to hear, let's just, Elizabeth and I will chant. If you don't mind, Elizabeth, could we alternate the verses?
Okay.
Okay, that sounds good. Just so you can hear it first, and then we'll all chant it together. I'll start. Om Agnir me vachi shritaha Vagridaye Hridayamayi Aham amrite Amritam Brahmani.
Vayurme prane shritaha prano hridaye hridayam mayi aham amrite amritam brahmani.
Suryo me chakshushi shritaha chakshur hridaye Hridayam mayi aham amrite amritam brahmani.
Chandrama me manasi shritaha mano hridaye hridayam mayi aham amrite amritam brahmani.
Thank you, Elizabeth. So that's how the melody. Can you hear me? Okay, good, because I just got a sign up saying my internet is becoming unstable. So forgive me if I, anyway. So Agni, Agnir me, the fire in me. Agnir me vachi shritaha, the speech, shritaha. Elizabeth, do you remember offhand what shritaha means?
No, but I can pull out a paper while you go ahead and talk and see if I can find it.
Okay. So in this chant, fire is related to speech. It's not always that way, but in this chant, that's how it is. So the fire in me produces or enhances the chant, the speech. Then Vaghridaye, it's really Vach or Vak Hridaye. And because Vach is followed by the Ha in Hridaye, there's a sound change. So it becomes Vaghridaye, which means the speech is in my heart. So the fire is in me.
So, Leslie?
Yeah, sorry.
The translation I'm looking at says fire supports speech.
Thank you. Okay, so the fire supports the speech. And then the speech is in my heart. And then the refrain we hear and chant over and over again is the last part of each verse. Hridayam mayi aham amrite amritam brahmani. Hridaya is in me. The heart is in me. I, aham, I am in the nectar of immortality. That nectar is in Brahman, the eternal. So that's what gets repeated at the end of every verse. Everyone chant from Hridayam to the end. Let's do that all together. I guess you should mute yourselves and I'll just chant. Here we go. Hridayam mayi aham amrite amritam brahmani. Let's repeat it. Hridayam mayi aham amrite amritam brahmani. Were you all able to chant that with some ease? Good.
Leslie, I just have a question. Just if you could repeat that, like the hridayam, so the heart in me, and
Hridayam.
I am in the immortal nectar. And then what's the amritam brahmani? That's just the immortal nectar? Is
That immortal nectar is in Brahman, the eternal, that which is eternal. So I guess we are connected to that which is eternal. We are all connected to Brahman. And here, the fire nurtures my speech, My speech is in my heart. My speech is in the heart is in me. I am in that nectar of immortality. That nectar of immortality is in Brahman. So it all comes all the way back to the fire, which nurtures my speech, so the fire, I guess we use the fire to connect ourselves to that which is eternal. And in this chant, the fire connects us through our own speech. So our speech is nurtured by the fire. Would you like to chant that whole verse? Yeah. Okay, so let's chant that all together. Here we go. I'll start with Om. Om. Agnirme vachishhritaha vagridaye hridayamayi ahamamrite amritam brahmani. Let's do that again, starting with Om. Om. Agnirme vachishhritaha vagridaye hridayamayi ahamamrite amritam brahmani. How is that? Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs sideways? Yes.
I just don't know if you're going to have anything to help me with this. I do pretty well chanting along with my pronunciation, following the diacritical marks, getting my mouth around the sounds. But these melodies, and you know I'm pretty musical, these melodies elude me. I feel like I got nothing to hold on to. Do you know what I mean? And maybe I just have to listen more to recordings or something, but I feel these melodies, I feel lost in the woods with them.
Okay.
And I guess I'm just newer to the Vedic chanting, you know?
No, that's all right. That's why I included the chant marks. So let's take a closer look at this. So do you see the word Agnir Me, and you see the line underneath the first letter A? That tells us to go down. So in Vedic chant, of course, there are always only 3 notes. The reason why we chant Om in the beginning is so that Om establishes the middle note. So then from there, then we know we have to go down. Om, Ag, or I can raise the pitch. Om, Ag, Oda. So I'm not sure if that's a half note or a whole note. That's where just repetition and helps. But if you chant Om and that establishes the middle note, then we look to the chant marks. So everyone do with me. Om, Ag. Then GNIR, there's no mark for chanting, so we have to move up to the middle note. Agnir, everyone do that. Agnir. Then look at the page again, and you see with the letter E, of course, representing the sound A, there's a vertical stroke, which is a chant mark. And so in the beginning, it may be easy to confuse chant marks versus the pronunciation marks. We just have to get used to them. That's why they put it vertical, which says, and that's the up stroke. And what I've observed when we are in class with Desikachar's students, they've taken on the habit of going up a full note. Now, I've noticed in many recordings that I have, and in many other lineages of Vedic chant, they only go up a half note. We could do that here. It's just that Elizabeth and I have learned it so ingrainedly so that we go up a full note. That's basically what that is. So that word becomes chanted as Agnirme, and then the next word, we have to go all the way down to the bottom note. Me vachishritaha. So that's how we do that.
That is totally helpful. Really helpful.
Good, yeah. So I do my best to put in the chant marks, and I always bother Elizabeth to make sure they're accurate. So, so this I think is correct in this handout. Yay! Okay. So the fire relating to the speech and enhancing or nurturing our speech. Would you like to go on to the second one? Fire and speech. And it's interesting, you know, every Vedic chant is different. You know, the priority is often given to fire first, because the fire is how we start. The fact that it's related to speech is interesting because it's not always, I don't think. But very soon we have prana, because who can live without breath? Nobody. So right there in the second verse, Vayurme. So now everyone look at your sheet. So Va, here's an example of having a chant mark showing the pitch at the bottom of the letter but it's a long as indicated by the dash over it. So that symbol in its entirety tells us to go down to the low note and make it a long and then yur is middle, and then you have a double danda. That means chant at the middle note, and then while you're in that syllable, while you're still chanting it, it slides up. Double danda means that. So we end up with Vayurme. Everyone, let's do that twice through. Vayurme. Vayurme. And then from me prane shritaha. Did everyone see that and hear that? Okay, let's do that together, all together. Here we go. I'm going to chant Om so we establish the middle pitch again. Om Vayurme Prane Shritaha Prano Hridaye Hridayamayi Aham Amrite Amritam Brahmani. Vayuhu, Vayurme. So the wind, the breath, the wind in me or for me, Prane Shritaha. So the wind nourishes the breath in me. That breath in me is in my heart. The heart in me, well, you know, the wind is in the breath is in the heart is in me, I am in the nectar of immortality, which is in Brahman. Shall we move on to the next one? I bet we could do all four today. Yeah, okay. I'll start with Om. Om Suryo me chakshushi shritaha. Let's do that again. There's a lot of shushas in there. Chakshushi chakshushi. A lot of second mouth position sounds. Here we go. Om Suryo me chakshushi shritaha chakshur hridaye hridayamayi aham amrite amritam brahmani. I found a mistake in the chant marks. So after chakshur hridaye hridayam, yam should have a line underneath that letter A. Hridayam. So if you have a pencil, put that in. I will correct it and send you the corrected file. So, of course, I had just said it was perfect and it's not. My apologies. So Surya or Suryaha is, of course, the sun. The sun, Chakshushi, the sun nourishes the sight in me. Or may the sun nourish my sight. We can't see without the light comes from the sun. My sight is in the heart in me. I am in that nectar is in Brahman. And finally, the last verse. Om Chandrama me manasi shritaha mano hridaye hridayamayi aham amrite amritam brahmani. Chandra, Ardha Chandrasana, half moon pose. So the the moon, Manasi, the moon, may the moon nourish my mind, my sanity. And lunatic, the loon, la lune. So the moon, with its various phases and the fact that it disappears, reappears as new and becomes whole and then wanes again, can have effect on our mentality. And we are asking that the moon keep us well in our thinking and in our sanity. Because my mind, the mind is in my heart, the heart is in me. I am in that nectar of immortality, which is in Brahman. Let's chant the whole thing again. So you've got the pitch, you've got the melody now, right? I mean, you have a way to find it, right? Okay, here we go. Om Agnir me vachi shritaha Vagridaye Hridayamayi Aham amrite Amritam Brahmani Vayurme Prane Shritaha Prano Hridaye Hridayamayi Aham amrite Amritam Brahmani Suryo me chakshushi shritaha Chakshur hridaye Hridayamayi Aham amrite Amritam Amritam Brahmani Chandrama me manasi shritaha Mano hridaye hridayam mayi aham amrite amritam brahmani. Are there questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
First of all, that's so beautiful.
Oh, I love it.
So just on the notes where there's the double lines above the E, so hridayamayi aham amrite. So it's not just going te, it's going te, right? It changes.
That's a good question. And Elizabeth, I noticed, and I can't remember which is correct. I remember getting yelled at for doing it wrong, but I don't remember what to do right. So you probably all heard, and maybe, and what you're pointing out, Rebecca, is that I tend to go, aham amrite, but Elizabeth went, aham amrite. So Elizabeth, do you have some insight on this?
Only that's how, I think that's how I was taught. I don't know how else to explain it.
Then let's do it that way. And I will try to retrain myself.
We keep
So,
that sound.
Aham amrite. But at the end, it really, what I learned a long time ago from Manorama was, don't ever keep it eh. It has to be a diphthong. It has to come up at the end. But we can delay it for the very end.
Okay.
Aham amrite.
Okay.
Would you agree, Elizabeth? Is that?
Yeah, I was wondering, do you think that you heard it another, differently from Sonia?
I don't know. I think maybe it's time for me to do a lesson with Edwina. Because it's one of those subtle things. They want to hear the diphthong, but if we overemphasize it, they say, no, that's wrong.
Right.
And then
that's for me. I don't know if it's just the musician in me. That's just naturally that my mouth doesn't want to go like that. Eh sound is like, ugh, no, nobody wants to hear that.
What are you saying? That you don't want, do it the way
if you were singing something and just like on that it's just you would change it. So that's what I'm saying. I don't know if it's just me putting that on there. So, but I acquiesce to that. I'm naturally going but
probably because you learned it from me. Let's see if we can those of us who learned it that way, let's see if we can change, especially you and me, Rebecca. So
I'll go back to and see if I can listen to this on one of the discs I have.
Yeah, and I will too. I will. Yeah, we'll do that. Aham amrite. And it could be when we speed it up, that may help us.
Right, you're not so stuck on it. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for pointing that out. So next week, I'll bring in 4 more verses.
I have a question.
Yes.
So with this, I like to torture my students by practicing my chanting on them, usually at the end of class. So would this be appropriate to do at the end of a class, or does it matter?
With this, at the end of, this is your asana class and your yoga class?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, Elizabeth, why don't you weigh in? But I would say either one.
Either one.
Yeah.
Chanting in the beginning, of course, we chant the invocation to honor our teachers and to be reverent, but it also, doesn't that invocation bring us all together, and we become of one mind, and we're ready to do do the work or to do the task. Whereas at the end, it can calm us down and give us a sense of completion. So.
Are there
And with this-
any particular chants that they really shouldn't do at the beginning? Or, I mean, is there any kind of rule like that, that there are some that really are meant more as an invocation and some that are really meant to be a closing, or?
I haven't been taught that. I think, you know, all of us in our traditions, we have, you know, we've just sort of learned by doing, and maybe no one explained it to us. Like in the Ashtanga yoga, you always begin with Vande Guru Nam, and then, but you always end with that beautiful chant for the earth, you know, that beautiful one. And
Mangala mantra.
yeah, the Mangala chant. And in the Iyengar tradition, it's Yogena Chittasya all the way through. And then we often don't chant at the end. Or sometimes Patricia Walden will have me chant something, or we might all chant Om, but not very often. And Elizabeth, what about the tradition? What your tradition? Is there a?
I think, well, it would be up to teachers. Sometimes teachers would chant in the beginning, something from the relationship on the student-teacher relationship. Sahana would always be appropriate at the beginning of any class, but it would be up to the teacher and what they focus was for the class. In other words, sometimes that we use a mantra or part of a chant in a class, and then you might end up just concluding with that, coming back to that at the end of a meditation.
And also Patanjali's Yoga Sutras are used, you know, and often Patricia has taught with a theme in mind, and she'll one sutra, which is the thought pervading the class. And we would chant that in the beginning. And Karen, you were going to say something?
I've also been in a class with Patricia, and I've also done this, ending a class with Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, because it's a dedication of the practice to the welfare of all beings. So I think that's a particularly good one to put at the end.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Did that answer your question?
Because we're facing
Yeah, well,
this big,
I don't always teach like a strict Ashtanga. Like I teach Ashtanga, but then I also teach, you know, my own things kind of. So then that's when I play around with different chants and
follow your heart.
And
I
I
follow your heart.
that a lot of what, you know, if you look at sort of the teacher of our teachers, and so even if those, you know, if Patabi Joyce and Bhikesa Iyengar certainly knew the same mantra, like it's not as if they didn't also know the other mantra, but that if somehow in a way like Ishta Devita, like what speaks to the individual as they were over time sort of fine-tuning their teachings that they were passing down, then maybe over time particular mantra really became more the set one at the beginning, as opposed to it being, because we don't really know, you know, like when did that happen?
Yeah.
It must have spoken to them. So that I think that way that somehow that there's so, we may enjoy chanting so many different mantra, but some just like they just touch you as an individual in such a strong way, and that maybe those are the ones that we then end up coming back to again and again. And so we end up maybe knowing being familiar with and having practiced a larger number of mantra than the ones that we kind of come back to again and again, because somehow, even though we might not even know why they speak to us.
And
Well
there's
said.
certainly comfort in going back to the familiar. There's comfort, and the ones that we've done the most often, they'll get more deeper and deeper into our hearts too, because they're done a lot. Yeah. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, Val. There's no, we will chant this, and there's none of that. It's just, and you're right, it isn't explained, and it's probably because it resonated with the teachers, and that's what we did. This is great. Well, we're coming to the end. I'd love to, well, Val, since you're there, would you chant for us the final chant that you do, the Mangala, the beautiful chant? And those of you who have my workbook, it's on page 60, 66, 67, 68, something like that.
60.
68?
Yeah.
68. Okay. So we should mute ourselves if we want to chant along with Val.
Om Swasti Prajabhyaha Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahim Mahishaha Go Brahmanebhyaha Shubhamastu Nityam Lokaha Samastaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Harih Om Tat Sat.
So beautiful, Val. So beautiful. Lokaha samastaha sukhino bhavantu. Let's all just say that. Lokaha samastaha sukhino bhavantu. Lokaha samastaha sukhino bhavantu. And then there's the other one that that Karen mentioned. Sarve, let's see if I can just, there's a melody that Patricia uses, but I'd like to do it more Vedic. Let's just see. Sarve bhavantu sukhinaha. It's in my book somewhere. I don't know where.
And that's kind of, Leslie, inserted in the kind of extended Mangala mantra that I sent you, that Sarve
yeah.
Bhavantu Sukhino.
Right,
So it's
yeah.
maybe
So
all
I'm going to
mixed
try and
together.
type that up so we get all the diacritical marks, and then I'll send that out. It's a, Patty was learning from Harmony an extended version of the chant that Val just did for us. And it's really interesting. It says, may the earth always be green, and may there always be rain, and all that kind of beautiful thing. This one is simply Sarve bhavantu sukhinaha, Sarve santu niramayaha, Sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Pardon me, I'm just looking in the table of contents to see if it's.
It's on page 83 in your book.
Thank you very much. Page 83, there we go. Well, actually today, because it's more familiar, the way that Patricia Walden likes it, it's not The melody is not Vedic, but it's quite beautiful. So it goes like this. Sarve bhavantu sukhinaha. Sarve santu niramayaha. Sarve bhadrani pashyantu. Ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Sarve bhavantu sukhinaha. Sarve santu niramayaha. Sarve bhadrani pashyantu. Ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. You can unmute yourselves, please. I hope this has been enough, and look forward to seeing you next time.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everybody. And Patty, thanks especially. for
Yes.
Thank you.
What you're
Many,
doing.
many, many thanks.
Thank you. All right. Have a good week, everybody.
You
Thank
too,
you.
Karen.
Bye-bye.
Well,
Thank you.
Thank you. Lots of love. And Henley says hello to Baxter.
Yeah,
He
says
he is
hello,
so
right back.
handsome. He's a sphinx. He's so handsome.
There are many lizards to observe.
It's good to see you, Val.
Patty, thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Thanks
Wonderful
again.
class,
Thank
Leslie.
you.
Wonderful participation. Thank you, Elizabeth.
Well, thank you. Sorry, Leslie, I missed a chant mark.
Oh, no, that's all right, actually. Always my fault. Mea culpa. I'll go back and redo it.
No, I did find something that you and I can talk about. I found my list of gestures for Laghunyasa.
Oh, yay. Okay, good. All right, next time.
All right.
Great. Rebecca, so good to see you.
So
Be
good
well.
to be here. I'm sorry I was last week, it just didn't work.
That happens to all of us.
All right,
Always
thank you.
glad
So
to see you.
Patty, I look forward to hearing this.
Oh, a class?
Laghunyasa.
I love this so much.
Now,
It's really,
Rebecca,
really
Rebecca.
beautiful.
Rebecca, it's Laghunyasa.
Laghunyasa.
Laghunyasa. Laghunyasa.
Next week, I'm going to insist that everybody chant a line that has all the Y, the yas in it. I'll make sure. So it's Hridayamayi.
Well, I have to say, Patty, Leslie and I did this like with Judy. We had this, and I don't know, Leslie, if it's because it's less verses, so the printing's bigger, or because I've already had some time with it. But I've always loved the refrain, but it felt a little easier, the beginning part this time, you know?
Oh, good.
So that, and I don't know if it's just because, well, I don't know why. I guess because I've been chanting more, but I just love this one.
I'm so glad that you all love it. Yeah. It's
Yes. I knew the refrain, but I hadn't done the other verses. But it's just so beautiful.
Yeah. All right, ladies.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Bye, Rebecca.
Take care.
Great week. Bye.
Thank you, Leslie.
Thank you, Patty.
Be
We
well.
can do this all night.
I know. All right, I'll try and upload those videos for you, and I'll send you
Thank you.
links when they're there.
Okay, great. Yeah, I want to send one to Sandra. She really wanted it. She'd like
Yes,
this.
yes. I know that Karen, I think somebody was asking too, so I will send that.
Wonderful. Thank you for doing all that.
Thank you.
And all right, I'll do the Google thing.
Well, yeah, let me look into that for you too. I'll see what we can do with that. I was just doing it the easiest way for me, but if we're going to
That's
do this
great.
going forward, we should do it the right way first instead of.
Okay, well, whatever. Bye-bye. Have a good night.
You too. Bye-bye.